So you've probably seen them by now, right? These incredible all-in-one AI platforms. The ones that promise you like the entire universe of artificial intelligence for just one subscription. I'm talking writing tools, image generators, video, voice, the whole shebang, all in one spot. We're going to dive into this because, let's be honest, on the surface, it just sounds way too good to be true.
And it really does, right? That feeling when you first sign up is just amazing. All of a sudden, you've got this massive creative suite right at your fingertips. You're thinking, no more juggling a dozen different subscriptions, no more trying to remember which website does what. It literally feels like you've just unlocked a superpower for a total bargain.
And this is the promise that pulled us all in. It's such a simple pitch, right? One flat monthly fee and bam, you get access to a whole arsenal of AI tools. You don't have to subscribe to all these different services anymore. And the cherry on top, they throw in what sounds like this absolutely astronomical number, millions of credits. It just creates this powerful sense of abundance, like you have an unlimited runway to create absolutely anything you can dream up.
Until you run out. And it always seems to happen way sooner than you expected. You know the feeling. You're right in the middle of a project, totally in the zone, and then this little notification pops up. You've used all your credits. And just like that amazing feeling of abundance, it's gone. Poof! Replaced by just confusion. And frankly, a lot of frustration. Which of course leads to the one big question that pretty much everyone asks at that point. Wait, what's the catch? You're thinking, I paid my money. They told me I had millions of credits. So what just happened? Well, that's the central mystery we're going to unravel right now.
All right, let's put on our detective hats for a second and solve this vanishing credits mystery. To figure this out, we have to get to the bottom of what the real currency of these AI platforms actually is. And here's a hint. It's not dollars and it's not your subscription fee.
Okay, here it is. This is the key that unlocks the entire thing. Credits, they aren't a measure of how much stuff you can access, they're a measure of how much things cost. See, every single time you ask an AI to do something, it's using real electricity, real processing power, on a real computer in a data center somewhere. Credits are just, well, they're the platform's way of translating that real-world nuts and bolts cost into an abstract number for you to track.
And this really gets to the heart of the disconnect. We sign up thinking we're getting this generous, unlimited buffet of AI. But what's really happening? We're on a metering system. Think of it like the electric meter on the side of your house. From a business standpoint, it's actually kind of brilliant. They sell you the feeling of abundance, while in the background, they're carefully metering the very real, very expensive cost of computation. Every single click runs that meter, and the credits, that's just what the meter is counting.
Okay, so we've established that credits are basically a meter. So what does that actually mean for you in practice? Because think about it. If you don't know how fast that meter is spinning, being told you have millions of credits is a totally meaningless number, isn't it?
And this is where it gets really interesting. Not all AI actions are created equal, not even close. You know, generating a paragraph of text, that's computationally cheap. It barely moves the needle on your credit balance. But generating just one high-res image, whoa, that costs a lot more. And then you get to things like video or audio. That consumes a massive amount of compute power. It just drains your credits at a blistering pace.
So look, the issue here isn't that these platforms are necessarily being dishonest when they give you millions of credits. The real problem is the lack of translation. That huge number is almost never translated into something tangible. They don't say, hey, your subscription gets you 200 images this month, or you can generate 10 minutes of video. And without that simple translation, our brains just assume abundance, when what we really should be doing is budgeting.
And this next part is where so many of us get caught. I like to call it the regeneration trap. Because let's be real, creative work is almost never a one-shot deal. You write a prompt, you get an image, you think, let me tweak that a little, and you hit regenerate. Then you do it again. So what feels like one single creative project is actually 3 separate full-cost actions on the back end. And just like that, poof, your credit usage has tripled, and you probably didn't even notice.
Okay, so knowing all of this, how can we actually apply it to our own work? Well, let's take a look at your personal AI usage profile. Because the way you work has a direct and honestly often a pretty dramatic impact on how quickly you're going to burn through those credits.
So, have a look at this and see where you fit in. Can you spot yourself? Maybe you're the thinker. You're mostly using AI for writing, journaling, that kind of stuff. If so, your credit use is going to be super low. Or maybe you're the casual creator, doing some writing but also making a few images here and there.
That's more moderate. But then you have the marketer or the producer. If you're the person creating a high volume of stuff, blog images, social posts, videos, audio, your consumption is going to be high to extremely high, and you are going to hit that credit limit fast.
And this brings us to a really crucial insight. Maybe we've been looking at these all-in-one platforms all wrong. They are absolutely fantastic as thinking tools, right? For exploring ideas, for writing, for getting clarity. But where they often start to struggle is when you try to use them as high-volume production factories for media.
So, what's the big takeaway here? How do you move forward? Well, this final part is all about helping you choose the right approach for you. It's all about aligning what you actually need to do with the reality of how these platforms are built.
Here's a really simple way to think about it. If your day-to-day work is mostly about finding insight, getting clarity, reflection, and writing, then honestly, these all-in-one platforms can be an incredibly powerful and cost-effective tool for you, a great fit. But if your work is all about producing a high volume of output, we're talking assets, media, images, videos, then you might actually be better off looking at dedicated tools that are built specifically for that one job.
And just to be super clear, the point of all this isn't to say these platforms are good or bad. They're not. It's just about understanding the tool for what it is. Once you get that the credit system is really designed to support exploration more than mass production, a lot of that frustration just melts away. And you can finally make a truly informed choice that works for you.
So I'm going to leave you with this one simple question to think about. The next time you sit down to use an AI tool, ask yourself, what is my main goal right now? Is it insight or is it output? Answering that one question honestly is the real key to mastering these amazing tools and finally, avoiding that frustrating illusion of abundance.